It's the future, and the world is controlled by the trans-global corporations of the late 20th century. These days, seems everything has its price, even the law.
Fighting Force 2 Electric Boogaloo is a pretty cool game, and no, that's not the real name of the game. If it was, that would make the game about 1,000 times cooler. But it is a pretty cool game nonetheless. It's just not Fighting Force anymore. I mean, Fighting Force 2 completely left its beat-em-up roots. It is completely an action-adventure game. You're running around from hallway to hallway, beating up bad guys, using not only your fists and legs, but also shooting them and throwing grenades at them and stabbing them. I mean, it's really no longer a beat-em-up when you're just shooting the bad guys half the time. I mean, it's just as much a third-person shooter, really. Yeah, you get a whole host of cool weapons. Everything from different automatic rifles to grenades to even a sword. The game also has a really great feel. I mean, it takes place in this completely dark and nasty and metallic futuristic world. It is pure metallic cyberpunk. It's like slick and soulless, and I absolutely love stories that take place in worlds like this. You also don't get to play as different characters. I mean, you're just one guy. You're like this super cop agent of the future, and you go out to kick some bad guy ass. Master, am I still a beat-em-up? I am sorry. In your anger, you left that genre. The graphics in the game are also pretty good. They're not entirely spectacular in any way, but the fact that the game takes place in this futuristic, metallic, cyberpunk world gives it brownie points, at least for me, or just fans of kind of futuristic sci-fi stuff. Don't get confused though, there are a lot of bad parts in the game. For example, when fighting with your sword, it's very cumbersome. It's hard to hit enemies, you're constantly turning the wrong way and missing your shots. It's just a bad weapon to use. You might as well use your fists and your legs. And using your fists and legs isn't a picnic either. They sped the combat up from Fighting Force 1. It no longer feels like you're fighting in slow motion, but at the same time the fighting mechanics don't exactly look the smoothest, and it can get pretty jerky at times. Especially when the camera also screws up and you're just swinging your arms and legs aimlessly at the air while the enemy is a little bit to the left of you. But what's really fantastic is the guns. I mean, once you get a gun and some bullets, you can just run through a level and just empty your bullets into everything. I mean, the environment is completely destructible and the enemies are just completely mowed down when you have weapons. The problem is, of course, you run out of weapons. This is why I recommend playing this game with cheats. Put on a cheat that gives you infinite ammo and just mow through the game with like an automatic rifle. It is so satisfying, but it's still challenging because the enemies still do shoot you back. I mean, some enemies actually have automatic rifles as well, and the bosses can be pretty tough too. So it's not like if you just give yourself an infinite ammo cheat, the game is going to be a complete piece of cake. It's going to be a lot easier, I'm not going to lie to you, but you will feel like a total badass just mowing through the bad guys with your automatic rifle as you just run through all their buildings like some kind of futuristic Rambo. Fighting Force 2 doesn't have the best gameplay mechanics. In fact, I would say those are pretty mediocre. But the game does have a cool atmosphere and a lot of gameplay. So I would say this is a kind of good game. Fighting Force 2 gets an official Stan Birdman rating of a 7.4 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my friends.